Hey guys, I had to stop off on the side of the road and do this quick video. We've got a really big development going on in the oil and gas sector. The US Strategic Petroleum Reserve is going to release 50 million gallons of oil in a coordinated effort between China, Russia, and the US to lower energy prices. Something we talked about on the program the last month. Energy crisis going on in China and in Europe right now. And so China, Russia, and the US are trying to release some extra oil to deal with that. Gas prices have gone up. I'm looking at 𝙎𝙊𝙇𝙍𝙍. The national average right now is about $3.50 for regular unleaded gasoline. It's about $4.11 for diesel, which means trucking costs are going to go up. Last time we had this issue of $4 to $5 diesel gas, it put a lot of truckers out of business. So we'll have to see what happens this time. But right now, they're flooding the market with as much oil as they can to lower gas prices. On the West Coast and in Pennsylvania, they're having prices of about anywhere from $3.59 to $4.75 per gallon of gas. And I've heard some places in California even getting a little bit higher due to local taxation. But the cost of oil has gone up. Now it's come down a little bit. I think Brent and WTI were trading in the high 70s, low 80s range. So it's come down a little bit from where it was, a couple of bucks per barrel of oil. But that's caused gas prices to rise. Some really high gas costs going on right now. I just literally filled my truck up at the pump locally to where I'm at a 7-Eleven. It was $2.99 and 9/10 of a cent. So it's 1/10 of a cent off of $3, which is about our high that we've seen the last, I would say, 4, 5, 6 years since the last time gas prices were really high. I can remember not too long ago, it was maybe about a year and a half ago, when I could get gas for $1.99, $2.19. Because it's gone up at least a solid dollar in the last 7 to 8 months, which is a big deal. But those of you on the West Coast and the East Coast, you're seeing really, really high gas prices. Now, the problem with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is it only holds so much, and it wasn't filled all the way. It's not enough to alleviate long-term gas shortages or the increasing costs of a rising price in a barrel of oil. So what's going to happen is we're going to bear the brunt of it. And the question is, what have we done to prepare for that? Have you guys prepared for the gas costs going up and the oil shortage that we're having around the world? Now remember that we expect economic growth to grow as the world grows. There's going to be more energy usage. We've already seen a crisis in Europe and China. Are we going to have an energy crisis here in the US? We don't know, but it's very possible. Oil prices have been shooting up. Natural gas prices have been shooting up. And the alternatives that we have, a lot of the governments don't like them, guys. A lot of the governments don't like the fossil fuels. They want to get us into solar and into wind, and they want to stay away from nuclear. But the cheapest forms of electricity we have, both for mobile and for our grid power, are going to be the fossil fuels, and they're going to be nuclear. So we're going to have a choice to make here. And I don't know what the government's going to do. Hey, I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not Nostradamus. But I think what's probably going to happen is there's going to be a reckoning between the policies of all these governments who want to get rid of all the fossil fuels and the fact that we don't really have a lot of alternatives. I mean, what else am I going to do if I can't put gas in my truck, right? I don't have a way to get around. What happens if oil gets so high and gas prices get so high, we don't have a reliable and cheap way to get around? What do we do at that point? Everybody going to go buy plug-in EVs? Because I'm telling you right now, the electrical grid is not going to hold all the electric power that you need to power all these electric vehicles. The grid would have to be rebuilt. We're talking billions and billions of dollars to add on that capacity. And guess what? The only type of energy you're going to be able to use to power all these EVs is going to be nuclear. It's the cheapest one. It's the one that can put the most power on the grid at a time. Right now, coal and natural gas are being, demonized, and the prices of natural gas are going up a lot. All energy fuels are going up a lot. And in Texas, we have these huge wind farms out west. If you drive through El Paso, drive out through West Texas, massive wind farms everywhere. All these windmills turning. These windmills are huge. They're the size of like skyscrapers. These gigantic propellers. And you drive by and they're turning. The problem is when they don't turn, you don't get electricity. And we saw that happen when you had the Snowmageddon or the Freezeageddon, when we had that earlier in Texas, and it was freezing and everybody was panicking because we didn't have electricity. The problem was they were trying to rely on solar and wind, and it got cloudy and the solar wasn't getting as much power generation and the wind wasn't blowing, and even a lot of the wind turbines had frozen and we weren't getting our electricity. So we know we're not going to be able to rely on those forms of energy. So is there an energy crisis brewing? I think it's quite possible there's an energy crisis brewing. We'll have to see what happens. We're going to stay tuned to this, and we're bringing more on the channel, but I had to do this quick video because I saw that they had released 50 million gallons, or 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and they're not going to have much more than that after. They're trying to alleviate the energy crisis, but I think we're in it. We'll have to see what happens. Stay tuned.